Ibn Khaldun, that says that the expression is a linguistic action, right? That comes from al-lisan, linguistic action. In Arabic, he says, nashi', that it comes out of al-lisan. And therefore, it must be a firmly rooted faculty in the organ that performs it. And this is a myth breaking for all of those, most of the time, students of knowledge, lil asaf, sadly, that because of either insecurity that they are not able to speak correctly themselves, or because they just not inclined towards wanting to put effort into increasing their capability in speaking, they tend to spread this myth of, oh, you don't need to speak the language. You just need to understand, because we are trying to learn the Arabic language to understand the Quran and to understand the Sunnah. Therefore, I don't need to understand. I don't need to be able to speak it. I just need to be able to understand when I'm reading. And this is from amongst the biggest nonsensical things that you can say. Because even Allah Azza wa Jal says in the Quran about the Arabic language, lisanun Arabi. So the reason why we call lisan as in tongue, that's the default meaning of lisan Arabi. And even language, if you go back to the root in the Latin and where it comes from lingua, which means tongue. And so, as Ibn Khaldun, he says, language is something that is a trait in your tongue. It's something that comes out of your tongue. So it needs to be a firmly rooted trait in your tongue. You need to be able to speak it before anything. Likewise, the Arabic language, before the scholars that put in Nahu, like Abu al-Aswat al-Du'ali and Khalil ibn Ahmad and the scholars that are referenced in the Arabic language, before the Sahaba wanted to preserve the Quran, the Arabic language was a language, a lugha mantuqa. It was a pronounced language. It was used to speak it only. There wasn't no rules. It was barely being written, and only a few qabail, a few tribes of the Arabs, they used to write the Arabic language. And so when it comes to this myth of you don't have to speak the language, this qawl from many others that I just picked this one as an example. This qawl is what breaks that myth of, oh, you don't need to speak the language because you just want to understand the Quran and the Sunnah. Likewise, then Al-Imam Ibn Khaldun, he says, وَأَمَّا عِلْمُ اللُّغَةِ فَهُوَ مَعْرِفَةُ أَفْرَادِ الْكَلِمِ وَكَيْفِيَةِ أَوْضَاعِهَا. As for the science of language, it is the knowledge of individual words and how they are structured and applied. So, علم اللغة, even if we look at the ayah where Allah Azza wa Jal says, وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا. After he has mentioned that he has created Adam, then he taught Adam how to speak. So Allah Azza wa Jal says, وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا. And Allah Azza wa Jal taught Adam all of the words. If you go to Tafsir ibn Kathir, Ibn Abbas, he was asked, did Allah Azza wa Jal taught Adam the words like وَالسَّحْفَةِ, which are, names to describe a pot, something you put food in it, like a plate. And then Ibn Abbas, he said, yes, حَتَّى الْفُسْوَةِ وَالْفَسِيَّةِ, which is passing wind, to emphasize on how much and how detailed did Allah Azza wa Jal gave Adam from the vocabulary that for someone, and this brings me to the myth of many students of knowledge. What they say is, why do I want to learn this book? Like, they might talk about Arabi ibn Adik, they might talk about other books. They say, why am I learning this book? Why am I learning to say tomatoes? Why am I learning to say clouds? Why am I learning to say trees? Why am I learning when I want to understand the Quran and the Sunnah? And this is one of the biggest problems of, I know it all type of students, because, I know a few fatawiyat and I have memorized a few ahadith and I've memorized a couple of juz from the Quran, so I know what I need. So imagine somebody who wants to lose weight, he goes to a coach and he says, why do I have to track my food? Why do I have to weight my food? All I want to do is eat healthy. So I'm just going to eat salad. So is you going to the expert and telling him, no, I know what I need, even though you don't even have experience in it.